I think Utah had the best first round out of any team. They added Ace Bailey and then Walter Clayton Jr., who went over there.
Ainge is no fool, man. Ainge is no fool. I wanted to comment on one of the trades you mentioned, Speedy. There is a real crazy thing in here. On the second one I have is the Derek Queen for Asa Newell. Now, look, I agree. I like Newell as well, Speedy. Mm-hmm. But look at what they have to give up next year. So it's 13 for 23, and the better unprotected pick of either Milwaukee, who doesn't have Dame and might have to trade Giannis, or New Orleans, who you know is going to be bad. So that means they're going to have a good, possibly lottery pick next year. It's not protected. What if New Orleans tanks?
This is why I hate the NBA draft, because this protected and non-protected type of pick, I don't like it. If you're trading the pick, that's what you're trading. Protected or not.
Well, it could be number one. Yeah, it could be number one overall is
you're
what
trading,
we're saying.
Yeah, I understand that. I'll tell you this. I never understand the Atlanta Hawks. They draft these athletically gifted forwards and centers, and they all fall right to the waistline. I don't know much about this kid, Derek Queen, but everybody says...
Well, the Hawks get Newell, so they traded him to New Orleans.
All right, so he goes to New Orleans. That doesn't matter. They drafted Derek Queen, okay? They drafted this guy. I've read a little bit about the guy. He had 16 and a half points and 9 rebounds, and he was a 76 and a half free throw shooter. But here's the problem with him. Everybody was watching his combine, his vertical leap and all this other stuff. Oh, he's so athletic. That doesn't help you in the NBA. I mean, who won the slam dunk contest the last 3 years? A guy that's a G League player, a bona fide G League player. His what is his vertical jump, his leap, is what, 53 and a half inches of some magnitude? I mean, who cares what his vertical leap is? What could he do on a basketball court? Size, obviously, you can't buy size, but you need that kind of talent. And I've been reading a lot about this guy, Derek Queen. Maybe that's why Atlanta traded him to New Orleans, because it didn't make any sense. He's just another prototypical guy that they draft over the years that fall flat on their face.
Yeah, they've had trouble with big men, too. They reached on a USC big man a couple years ago, too, that I think went number 8, and he hasn't amounted to anything. I think they were thinking of already trading him. So, they've had trouble. Maybe that's why they had to trade for Porzingis, like Kenny's mentioning in the comment section. They need some level of size to make that kind of thing work.
Porzingis, give me a break.
But good luck with Porzingis staying healthy.
Interesting you mentioned Porzingis, because before the draft, as you know, there were a flurry of trades, Errol, and we haven't had a chance to talk about them. So we have them up here as well. And Porzingis, we might as well start there. It was a 3-team trade to the Hawks. Again, another place. So I guess they didn't need Queen. I'm not a Queen fan personally.
Me neither.
I mean, the band Queen I liked. But Derek Queen, I don't think he has great athleticism. I think he's like a very poor man's version of
I
Ace
thought they
Bailey.
were reaching when they made that move to bring him in. And then obviously
people liked him. He hit that buzzer beater in the tournament. I just played the highlight of it. But I just don't see it.
You do realize what the Celtics are doing right now. You do realize it. I don't think anybody is blind to see what's going on. Next year's free agent class is ridiculous. Doncic could be a free agent next year. Mikey C believes no matter what, Doncic is probably leaving the Lakers, and if he leaves the Lakers, there's a very good chance he could go to the Celtics. And he also believes that 5 years, when Cooper Flagg becomes available, he grew up a Celtic fan. That's where he's heading. And he believes that he wouldn't be surprised if Doncic and Flagg are playing for the Celtics in the next 4 years.
Tell Mikey C to go get those new rare edition Selena Gomez.
You never know.
No, but
tell Mikey C that Selena Gomez Oreos are the real deal, and he knows where to stick them.
Well, he definitely knows where to stick them. But I will say this. You know what the Celtics are doing now. The Celtics are going to play next year with Jaylen Brown, who's getting knee surgery as we speak, but will be ready for the beginning of the season. Might miss the first few games of the season, but he will be ready for the season. And Derek White. That's all they're going to have, and they have the 6th man of the year. What's his name? Pritchard. That's it. That's all they have. So they're a borderline playoff team at best. So they might not even make the playoffs. And if Jaylen Brown decides to dilly-dally all season long and take his time getting back to playing basketball, they could miss the playoffs and be a lottery pick. And knowing the NBA and what the NBA loves to do, as we've seen with the Dallas Mavericks, and being that the Celtics and the Lakers are the NBA's face of their organization, I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics get a top 5 pick next year in a class that's absolutely loaded to combine with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
You do really think the LeBron James Association would
typical.
want to reward the Celtics?
Hold on. It took me by surprise because he said NBA. I had to double take.
Well, it is the LJA, but that's why I'm saying it is the NBA.
LeBron really
I'm
likes
trying
the
to be
Celtics
nice
enough to
tonight.
want to do that.
I'm trying to be nice tonight, but we all know it's the LJA. So I'm speaking the truth here. That's all I'm saying.
One of LeBron's running buddies who may force his way, we thought might force his way to the Lakers, decided not to. He re-signed 3 years, $119 million. Kyrie Irving, the flat earther himself, decides to stay in Dallas because guess what? They just got Cooper Flagg. Of course he's going to stay in Dallas. Mm-hmm. He gave up on like $3 extra million on a 1-year deal to turn into a 3-year deal just under $40 million. He was due like for 43 this year. So he makes out in the long run.
I also believe that Anthony Davis now will stay over there, and they got a threesome right over there. And if Anthony Davis stays healthy, you got probably one of the best young fours in the NBA. You could put Cooper Flagg as a 3 or a 4. Yeah. He could play multiple positions, and you have Anthony Davis. Even if he can't stay healthy, they could play small and move Cooper Flagg to the 5. Who's going to stop Cooper Flagg at the 5? And he's quite capable of doing that. So he can play multiple positions. So they're dangerous. And Kyrie Irving knows they're going to be dangerous next year. Everybody keeps talking about what Houston did. Getting Cooper Flagg changes everything. Changes everything on the Western Conference now. It does.
And you don't have to force him to kind of do everything big right away either. If your big men they're able to stay healthy too, and you could let Flagg play his offensive game a lot more.
And the Van Vliet move, absolutely ridiculous. I know it was not a big contract. I know, but you were thinking about trading him at the trade deadline, and now you extend him? Does that make any sense? I mean, seriously.
It does. I think it does, Errol, because when they had him at a much higher cap number, he was a problem for them to deal with and make additions to their team. At $25 million a year, that's a pretty good contract for a starting guard in this league. I would say that's average money for a guy at this point. I mean, NBA's doing really well. The cap keeps going up. $25 million is money for an above average starting guard, and that's what Van Vliet is. I don't think he's an all-star, but he's better than average. And now he gets to play with Kevin Durant. I'm sure Kevin Durant said, keep guys that know how to get me the ball on the team. Van Vliet knows how to do that.
So trade Dylan Brooks, who doesn't know how to do anything but instigate fights.
Boy.
Nobody.
I was
likes
just going to
Dylan
say
Brooks.
he knows how to try to instigate.
Well, look at a 2026 free agent market. Now, Damian Lillard is probably going to be gone. He's probably going to retire. LeBron James, if he steps away, he's retiring. You got Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, Zach LaVine, James Harden, DeAndre Ayton, De'Aaron Fox, C.J. McCollum, Chris Middleton, Kristaps Porzingis, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein, Andrew Wiggins. I mean, this might be the best
reunion.
This might be the best free agency class the NBA has had in about 10 years. Just think about it. There's still a lot more on that list of players that you have. Jaren Jackson's going to be a free agent. Tobias Harris. Now Fred Van Vliet is not going to be a part of that. Draymond Green, he's probably done. So, I mean, if you look at Terry Rozier, he's going to be. Mikal Bridges, if he doesn't sign with the Knicks this coming offseason, he could be a free agent. And Caldwell Pope could be a free agent. Aaron Gordon, and on and on and on. Marcus Smart. This is a great class next year. And I think that's what the Celtics are hoping for. If they don't get a top 5 pick or a lottery pick next year, they could get one or maybe 2 of these guys to play with Jaylen Brown and a hurt Jason Tatum. I don't know if Jason Tatum's going to be the same player coming back from an injury like this, but he's still going to be a goddamn good player.
Yeah, and they have a lot of variety they can go after, too. Like, the Celtics are pretty positionless where it comes to the versatility, where they could fill a lot of guys in and still be able to make that kind of thing work with that free agent class. So, definitely interesting. Again, we'll see if the LJA is going to manipulate that much, because we really know if LeBron loves the Celtics. But, yeah, they definitely have a plan if they're trying to get under the salary cap apron, whatever they call it, that quickly.
Just think about it. Just think about that class next year in 2026. Who's going to be available? Teams are going to open. And that's why I don't understand Houston. Why would they give Fred that kind of contract when they could bring in one of these other big names that could be available next year.
You know, it's interesting, though. They were able to get Durant, and they had paid these larger contracts. Who did they trade for Durant?
Nothing.
Who did they give up?
They
No. Who were the players? And they
Dylan
were
Brooks
overpaid players, right?
And Jalen Green.
And Dylan Brooks was making like $22 million a year.
I like
don't
Dylan
think he's
Brooks.
really
and if
but
I
that's
were
a lot for Dylan Brooks.
If I were the Knicks, I would do whatever I can to pry him away from Phoenix. I would. 'Cause I think Dylan Brooks would be a perfect fit with the Knicks. I really do.
I don't disagree with that. I like him as a player, but the thing is, when you overpay guys, and I think Houston did this intentionally because they had to pay somebody. No one was coming there. They just had all this draft capital. So now you can overpay guys, and guess what? Now when you have to try to acquire a star, the contracts match up because you have a couple of guys that make a lot of money that you're not afraid to get rid of. So Van Vliet at 25, if they can upgrade to a top-notch point guard, he's very easy to include in the trade because of that big cap figure that he's going to have. At 25, at like 37 or 35, whatever it was, Speedy, previously under his former contract, that was tough. But at 25, very, very tradable asset for a guy like that. I think it's a smart decision. I think it's very kind of irregular. Everyone's doing different things. Sam Presti obviously has cornered the market on everything in the NBA.
Oh, I loved his draft.
This GM's doing really good.
Yeah, they got a steal too.
I love what OKC did in this year's class.